ITV News Central, good evening. Police are still looking for 3 people they believe were involved in the fatal stabbing of a man in Redditch. 53-year-old Ian Kirwan, who was from the town, died after being stabbed outside the Asda supermarket last night. Officers have arrested 8 young people on suspicion of murder. Ravneet Nandra reports.
From a car park to a crime scene. The Asda supermarket in Redditch was today still closed to the public as police began a murder investigation. At 7:20 last night, officers say a gang of young people attacked a man, fatally stabbing him.
Although formal identification is yet to take place, with permission of his family, I can inform you that the man was a 53-year-old Ian Kirwan from Redditch. My thoughts and that of my colleagues in West Mercia Police very much extend to his family at this awful time and friends that knew him.
Officers say the 53-year-old was attacked outside the front of the shop by the gang that had travelled to the area. Last night, 6 young people were arrested on suspicion of murder. Today, 2 more from South Birmingham were arrested too, and police believe there's still 3 more out there. The police presence in Redditch has been stepped up to reassure the public, and officers have urged anyone with information to come forward. Ravneet Nandra, ITV News.
Urgent efforts are underway across the Midlands to get medical aid to those who desperately need it in Ukraine. The World Health Organization has warned that a public health crisis is looming as health services are interrupted. One GP in Warwick has been coordinating donations from hospitals and NHS trusts in the region, as Callum Watkinson reports.
2 British medics with deep Ukrainian ties and deep concerns for family members now in harm's way. They are channeling that anxiety into an effort to collect donations of medical supplies to be sent to the war zone.
My granddad, my aunt, a different aunt, a cousin, my niece, I suppose, well, second cousin, lots of extended family, all in Ukraine right now, and I'm terrified.
My father told me a little bit of the history of him and his father. The Ukrainian nation has been through a lot of trials and tribulations to try and achieve a country which is sovereign and democratic. To see this being destroyed, I think it makes me feel angry.
Any medicine that you're not allowed to transport?
This is part of a wider effort by charity Medical Aid Ukraine to get vital supplies to where they are needed. They've been operating since Russia's annexation of Crimea 8 years ago and have networks in place to distribute what they receive. But we caught up today with a former Birmingham University student now living in Kyiv who confirmed medical essentials are in short supply.
There is a problem, yeah. A lot of things you can't find in pharmacies. We've also, and there's quite, well, I mean, there's not big lines, but it takes ages to try to get into a pharmacy. Apparently they've tried to fix that issue by kind of opening more pharmacies. But yeah, I'd still say there is a problem.
Like so many British Ukrainians, Tanya's efforts come from a strong need to help the people in a place that still feels like home.
If I didn't have children and a husband who would be absolutely devastated, I would be over there helping. But I can't do that for the sake of my kids. So this is my way of helping as much as I can, making as much effort and noise over here to try and help my country.
There has been much criticism today of the government's policy on Ukrainian refugees, and both these doctors voiced that. But their main focus is not on getting people out, but getting these life-saving supplies in. Callum Watkinson, ITV News.
The West Midlands Mayor, Andy Street, says more needs to be done to increase rail connectivity in the Midlands. He was giving evidence to MPs on the Transport Select Committee looking into the government's recently published integrated rail plan. He says the government is right to commit to the western leg of HS2, but needs to do more for the Midlands rail hub.
The bit that the IRP did not say sufficient on, but we can live with this and we can make it work, is obviously the Midland Rail Hub, because we have always argued that HS2 was the first major investment. The next piece is how does every part of our wider region get connected to the HS2 terminal stations. But given that the paper did say, go ahead and produce your business cases for this, what we have agreed with Network Rail is that it's exactly what we're going to do.
Next tonight, a woman from Coventry has been told she can appeal against a ruling that stopped her challenging the abortion of babies with Down syndrome. Heidi Crowther, who has Downs, lost her initial case last year. She wanted the law, which she says is discriminatory, to be overturned. Lucy Capassi reports.
Me too. Let's have a hug.
Celebrating with a hug, Heidi Crowther and her husband James take in the news that there's fresh hope for Heidi's incredibly personal legal challenge. Heidi from Coventry wants to change the law which allows unrestricted abortion of unborn babies with Down syndrome. Her hopes were dashed last year when two senior judges rejected her case against the government, ruling existing legislation is not unlawful and aims to strike a balance between the rights of the unborn child and the woman. But yesterday, she and two other claimants who brought the original case were given leave to appeal.
We're very happy that we can appeal on the grounds of discrimination, because that's what my court case is about. And I'm just so pumped I can sing.
In an unusual step, Heidi addressed the court directly to put her case forward.
So I said who I am, who I was, and a bit about the law. And I also said about how law makes me feel. And it makes me feel that I'm better off dead. I know it's not true, but that's how it makes me feel. But I want to do the book real. She is absolutely amazing. She just sees me as a person, and that's what I want them to do.
Well, they did all the other claims first, so it was all looking a bit negative, really. And it was all in legal language, so it was hard to understand. So just getting a bit concerned as one claim after another was withdrawn. So it was really amazing when we were able to say, yes, it's good news, this bit's worked.
In England, abortions are legal up to 24 weeks, if approved by two doctors. Abortions after that are only allowed if the woman's life is in danger, there's a severe fetal abnormality, or the woman is at risk of grave physical and mental injury. Those abnormalities include cases of Downs, meaning an abortion is allowed right up to birth. The British Pregnancy Advisory Service disagrees with Heidi's challenge, last year calling it a full frontal attack on pregnant women's rights. Yesterday, judges agreed for the case to be heard in the Court of Appeal on the grounds that the High Court was wrong to find that the Abortion Act did not interfere with the applicant's right to private and family life and freedom from discrimination. They said even if the appeal is likely to fail for other reasons, this is an area where clarity is important. Heidi and her legal team are now preparing for the appeal, although no date has yet been set. Lucy Capassi, ITV News.
Finally tonight, a magical moment for one book owner. A rare first edition Harry Potter book has sold for almost £70,000 at auction in Staffordshire. The copy of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, which is in pristine condition, had sat unread and unopened for 25 years. It was bought for £12.99 in 1997 and had been stored in a protective sleeve ever since. Let's have a look at the weather forecast now. Here's Des.
Making the most of it, whatever the weather. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Central Weather.
Hi, thanks for joining me. When it came to our weather story today, it wasn't too bad. We always saw that cloud drifting in from the west, gave us the odd touch of drizzle, but nothing too problematic. Pushing forward towards the weekend, though, we've got to thank the jet stream because it's enabled air temperature to be above the average for the time of year, and it continues to do that into Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and dare I say Sunday as well. Temperatures above the average by about 2, possibly 3 degrees. Now, we've got to wait till Saturday and Sunday before we see a change in our weather. And that's because the high pressure that's been the dominating feature, stopping systems from moving in from across the Atlantic. That high pressure moves towards the east, allowing this area of low to centre itself over us. Tightening isobel, it's going to be breezy and obviously fairly damp. Timing-wise, doesn't look as though it's going to get to us till Saturday afternoon. Heading into the overnights, then we see that cloud thick enough for some isolated showers, maybe just a touch of mist towards the hills or low cloud towards the hills. Temperatures down to around 8 degrees, so it's another very mild night, so a mild start tomorrow morning. A cloudier day than what we've seen of late, but the cloud will have breaks in and it will be thick enough for a touch of drizzle. In the brighter spells, temperatures 12 degrees.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Central Weather.
And that's the way the Midlands looks tonight. We're back during Good Morning Britain tomorrow. Good evening.